There can be many reasons why decluttering feels like an overwhelming challenge. So today let's talk about some of the reasons why I think decluttering can be kind of difficult, and I want to help you overcome them so that you can make progress in your home. Let's do it. I was talking to a friend recently and we were talking about decluttering, and she said, you know, I decluttered something that I regretted later, so I have not decluttered since. I've been way too afraid to get rid of anything else because that's a bad feeling, knowing that you decluttered something and that you wish you hadn't. You wasted the money, you missed that item. Maybe it's not even something you can easily replace. So I've actually decluttered several things, not many things, but several things that I have regretted. Here's the thing about that. The regret is usually very temporary. And I wish I could assure you, you'll only make one mistake and then you'll never do it again. No, you will continue to make mistakes. If you expect that, I think it gets much easier to go ahead and move on, knowing you're not going to do this perfectly, but having the vision that the reward is going to be infinitely worth whatever little thing you might regret, because ultimately you regret it for a moment and then you move on. Another really big one is, well, I actually was able to use 3 crock pots last year, so I might use them again. I might need 3 crock pots again. I've needed them before. This can be a real trap because it is very rare that you actually use 3 crock pots. You could come up with infinite amounts of scenarios and situations where you could use 40 floor lamps. I mean, you really can do this to yourself. So instead of saying, you know, I was able to use it before, I needed 3 crock pots 10 years ago at Christmas, I might need them again. It's just keeping that bigger picture in your mind and saying, if I do, I'll find a way around it. I'll borrow a crock pot. There will be another way to get what I need or what I think I'm gonna want at that time. So I always say, don't hold on to items for a maybe someday when you know for a fact you will benefit from decluttering today. Another one that I hear from you in the comments is, I'm saving this for the next generation. I want to hand this down to my children, to my grandchildren. Here's the deal. If these items are only stored away in boxes in your basement or attic or garage, your family isn't going to know what it is when they come across it anyway. It will not be a treasure if nobody knew about it in the first place. So my suggestion is to choose a few treasures, heirlooms, mementos, and have them out. You might say, but they'll get broken. Like, I don't trust these items to be out. I need to keep them packed and stored away because I know they're safe and sound. Well, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. There will be no memories of these items and no one's going to know what they are. And they're not going to be special to anybody because they aren't associated with any real life memories. Even if the vase gets broken, even if the spoons get lost, the memory then is intact. And I think that's what you're trying to preserve. Another one that I hear from you is, well, I still have a room to store the item, so isn't it just perfectly fine that I keep it? I don't keep items that don't serve me. Personally, the goal is not to keep as much as will possibly fit in the space. So I think in this case, you really have to think about, what is your goal? Is your goal to just fit as much that will fit in your space, in your closet, in your home as a whole? Is that the goal? I don't think it is in a lot of cases. I think the goal is ultimately to only live with the stuff that we use, need, and love. Having the 1 in, 1 out rule at that point can be really nice. If you feel like, you know, I'm keeping the things that fit, even though some of it I'm not really sure if I'm gonna need. Let's say fine, just go ahead and respect that boundary and continue with the 1 in, 1 out rule from there. I like having a little bit of room in my home to breathe. Personally, I don't like filling every door and every cupboard, but that's just personal preference. If you want to just focus on whatever fits in your home is what you're going to keep, I think that can be okay. But where the problem happens is when then you have items spilling over. Then you have clutter in your home, visible clutter that you really do have to manage every day. That's going to take a toll. So really focus on the 1 in, 1 out rule and really ask yourself what the goal is of your home and for your home. Is it to fill it to capacity, or is it to only have the things you use, love, and that serve you? Another thing that might be really holding you back or stalling your progress is feeling like you need to keep a backup of everything. So this is the pizza cutter we've been using. It's terrible. I have no idea if it came from the dollar store or if I paid $20. Either way, it is the worst. It is rattly. It doesn't cut pizza very easily. It's too small. I hate it. So I invested in this recently. This is just one that I grabbed at Walmart for $10. Instead of putting this in the drawer alongside the one that I do not like, I'm actually going to declutter this. I'm not decluttering it until I know I've replaced it and I have a reliable backup. But one of the problems that I think we can kind of find ourselves in is thinking that we do need a backup of everything. I'll replace this and say, you know what, I'm gonna keep this just in case something happens to this one. And I'll be so glad that I kept this. Guys, how hard is it for me to go out and buy a new pizza cutter? It's not a big deal. Keeping a backup of every item in your home is a big deal. It will cause lots of clutter and people won't even remember what was the good one, what was the bad one. And now I'm frustrated using this. Oh, I'm gonna shove this back in the drawer. Now we've used both. We have double the dishes. You see where this goes. You can go on and on and on with backups. Just keep backups of very, very, very specific items that you know for a fact you need. I love having options. Can be another reason we stall, don't declutter, or don't declutter enough, is because we're worried that if we get rid of too many items, let's say, we will be very, very limited. Pick one or two areas in your home. Let's say the kitchen, if you cook a lot, or your closet, for two examples. And you're going to give yourself a little bit more in these categories. You're not gonna keep everything, you're still just keeping your favorites, but you are allowing yourself one or two categories in your home that mean the most to you to have options. I still highly recommend decluttering these areas because when the things that you actually want to use and love are mixed in with broken items, clothing that doesn't fit you, things that don't make you feel good about yourself, or just random assortments like these in your kitchen. When you're shuffling around all of that clutter, you can't even get to the options that you really wanted to choose from anyway. And it's been my experience that 2 is still an option. You don't need 10 to have an option. You really just need 2. So I would kind of think about the idea of options in general and how you just want more than one to choose from. That doesn't have to mean 5 or 10 or 20. Sometimes keeping too much can keep us from actually choosing from the things we love, and to have an option, you really, really only need 2 items. So just be careful. Remember, do not look at your home as one giant project. This is the reason I did not declutter my home for many, many years. It's because the overall picture was way too overwhelming. So I realized you have to break things down into zones, categories, rooms, and take it one little bite at a time and not think about the entire home. So if you're feeling overwhelmed in general, you don't know where to start, but you know you want to declutter, break the areas of your home down into smaller bite-sized categories and go in layers throughout your home. This could be 5 minutes a day. It could be 30 minutes on a weekend. If you are consistent, you will accomplish your goals. That is what I've learned. Hopefully today's video is helpful. Please subscribe. I also have another video on the screen. I will meet you there. Bye.